Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My first guest tonight is the former director of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency and the latest person to be fired by the president via tweet. Please welcome Christopher Krebs. Mr. Krebs, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Now, former director of CISA, I think that's the acronym, how it's pronounced. Most people know he was the guy the president fired for saying this election was, quote, the most secure in American history. What leads you to say it's the most secure in American history? How do you know?
Well, we've been working to secure this election for 4 years. We've been working with all 50 states, thousands of jurisdictions, working with the entirety of the intelligence community, the Department of Defense. We work to improve and secure the systems, and we just have a lot of confidence based on that work, based on the relationships, and based on, honestly, the threats that we saw emerge and were able to knock down, that there was no foreign interference with this election.
But there were you saw threats emerge and knocked them down. Can you tell us what the threats were that you knocked down?
Yeah, so I think it was around October 22nd or so, the Iranians actually sent some emails around, you might remember, that were purportedly from the Proud Boys.
Oh, right.
Intimidating voters. And we saw that. We were able to conclusively prove that it was not the Iranians, and we got information out to the American people in about 27 hours from the first detection of those emails to the actual press conference. And I think that was just a real historic, rapid debunking of threats to our elections.
You took an oath to protect against foreign and domestic threats. We expected the foreign threats. Did you expect these domestic threats to our faith in the integrity of our elections? Because everyone's been giving the president a lot of rope and say, give him time. This is the first time he's ever lost. We got to be handle with kid gloves. But he's just getting worse.
So everyone that enters federal service pledges an oath to defend the Constitution from threats, foreign and domestic. And so that's what we did. We went in, we put country over party. Yeah, I'm a lifelong Republican. I'm not ashamed to admit it. But ultimately, it was more important that this American experiment that at times can seem so fragile, we had to protect it. We had to move forward. And yeah, there was domestic disinformation, and it continues to this day, that is actively undermining the American voters' confidence in the process. And I think it's got to stop. It has to stop.
Now, you're a high-tech guy. I saw the cyber in the title there. But you love paper ballots. Why do you love paper ballots so much? Should we just make it even more primitive? Should we just go with jelly beans in a can? Or what about the stick your finger in the die thing that people do somewhere in the world?
I think that might be a little extreme, but look, the approach here is keep it simple, stupid. And in part, what paper gives you is something tangible that you can run back and you can check. You have the receipts, and you can go back and confirm the outcome. And so I think the progress that election officials made over the last 4 years of getting more paper-based systems out there, we've got to continue. We have to have all paper-based and post-election audits. Those are the things that we're going to have to do to restore confidence in the elections.
So with so many Americans right now, and who knows, it might be a fleeting loss of confidence, but with so many Americans right now with a loss of confidence in our elections, what do you think can be done to restore that?
This is the thing that concerns me most right now. These numbers you cite, we see it all over the place in traditional media and social media. There are people actively questioning whether they should even participate in democracy. And my message to them is you should absolutely have confidence in your election officials. The first thing I think we have to do is continue investing in democracy. I think Congress needs to fund more grants to modernize systems. The second is we have to get paper ballots out there to 100%. We're probably at about 90% right now. We need 100% paper ballots and meaningful post-election audits. And the third thing is we got to get civic education back on the books in K through 12 and probably with adults too. So we've got to do more to educate on how elections work, and they're not just every 4 years.
On Tuesday, Georgia election official Gabe Sterling warned that somebody's going to get killed due to Trump and his followers' rhetoric. A Trump lawyer, Genova, I think, even made a threat about you, that you should be drawn and quartered and shot at dawn. Do you have a message to the Republican leaders who are fanning these flames?
Look, we should be celebrating election officials and the people that are out there, getting them into their jobs, not fanning these flames, as you put it, where they're getting targeted and they're getting death threats. They're the heroes out there. We need to do more to support them and protect them. And the real, the longer tail on this issue is that these death threats are going to have a chilling effect on election officials going forward. I mean, who in their right mind would want to be an election official next cycle if the election doesn't turn out the way of, some minority that they're going to send death threats to you? This is not how democracy can work.
Last night, I know we got to get going here, but I just want to do this president's speech last night. Last night, the president went on a 46-minute rant that has been called by some the most dishonest speech of his entire presidency. I'd like to run some of the claims that he said last night and have you fact-check them if you actually know the facts of these. There were glitches in the Dominion voting system that changed votes from Trump to Biden.
So I think that's the Antrim County, Michigan issue, and that was just two databases that weren't syncing up properly based on some alignment. So they detected it, they fixed it, and no issues. Again, they had paper ballots, by the way, that they always had ground truth.
So that's a no. Votes made on a Dominion voting system are counted in foreign countries.
This one again. Ballots, all votes are counted in the United States. I don't even understand this one. I just don't.
In Pennsylvania, ballots were taken and counted at a top-secret location away from poll watchers.
Yeah, I understand that one to be false. In fact, I think the president's own lawyer said that there was a non-zero number of observers in the room.
The president said in Nevada, you can sign your name as Santa Claus and your vote would be accepted.
That depends. Is your name Santa Claus? If your name is Santa Claus, then yes.
Good point.
But otherwise, no, they check signatures.
Good point. In Arizona, mail-in ballots were stolen from mailboxes and hidden under a rock.
That one is true. There were ballots that had not been cast yet, but it's being investigated. And those voters whose ballots were stolen, they were given the opportunity to still vote afterwards. They were notified.
Okay. In Wisconsin, at 3:42 a.m. on election night, there was a, quote, massive dump of suspicious votes for Biden. He had a chart.
Yeah. I'm uncomfortable talking about this one, just the massive dumps thing. But Look, what happens is votes are sorted sometimes before they are entered into the system. And you might see stacks of Biden, stacks of Trump. And what happened is they sorted and they entered it in. But again, paper ballots, paper ballots. The ones and zeros in these machines, that's not the important thing. It's the paper ballots.
Rudy Giuliani personally saw dead people voting. He was bitten by one of them. It's become a zombie situation, and that's why he is slowly melting before our eyes.
Stephen, I think we move on to the next bit now.
Yeah, I made that one up. I was just checking. Well, Christopher Krebs, thank you so much. Thank you for helping making our elections secure. Thank you for doing the right thing and saying the right thing publicly.
Thank you.
Stay safe. Christopher Krebs, everybody. We'll be right back with Aubrey Plaza.